right, let's head down to Gainesville, talk a little Florida Gator recruiting, and UF is battling for some top targets. We'll start with defensive line, with edge Trenton Henderson. Now, we're taping this on Tuesday morning. Trenton Henderson's going to come off the board Tuesday night, so some fans might be watching this and he's already committed. Chad, where do you think he's leaning ahead of this decision?
Yeah, morning of, I like where LSU's at. And this has been very fluid over the last week or so, Josh. I mean, you followed too. I mean, Florida was the clear-cut favorite coming off that OV to the Swamp back in June. And he took a trip to Texas the week after that. His OV to LSU was earlier in the process. And look, he's kind of come out of each visit saying LSU was the favorite, then Florida. Texas made a big push late as well. They're all three, as we tape this, Josh, still in communication with Trenton, but the most buzz for me and others on this team here at Rivals is LSU. We think they have a great shot to take him out of Florida. Again, Florida's kind of running that close second, so we're still watching this one, but right now he's LSU's to lose.
All right, now one that it sounds like Florida could close on this week is cornerback CJ Hester. What are you hearing here?
Florida's been setting the pace in this race for some time, Josh. Obviously, four-star DB from Cocoa, about an hour or so outside of Gainesville, a top high school program in the Sunshine State. They've had success there in the past. I think they'll have success here in the end. Again, with a guy like Hester, he's a guy that's looking at like Syracuse, Iowa, Georgia, Auburn, but Florida's in a great spot when he makes that decision this week.
All right, let's move on to Kendall Gerville, defensive lineman from Fort Myers, Florida, and he's going to be making a decision probably about 3 hours after this video goes live, and this has been a real battle. Seems like between Texas and Florida, a lot of defensive line battles between those two programs. Which way do you think this one could go?
Yeah, a big need of position for both, and both want to recruit the best in the country, and Gerville's one of those guys, and just happens to be he's a guy in Florida's home state down there at Fort Myers High School, and they want to take advantage of that proximity and location and kind of keep him at home and being 3 hours from Gainesville. This one has gone literally back and forth over the last week or so. I mean, this was pointing all Texas's way. I would say even days ago, Florida didn't give up. They've stayed in communication, and things have started to trend their way late in this decision coming up, like you said, just a few hours away. As of the time we shoot this video, I like where Florida sits, man. Billy Napier's done a great job here. Coach Chapman, Coach Peterson, all have been heavily involved. Texas remains in the thick of this race, but right now, I like where Florida sits for Gerville.
All right. Well, I like where Florida sits for this next one. Linebacker DQ Forkpa was on this channel just this week with an exclusive interview. We talked about his top programs. He's going to make that decision next weekend. So what do you think when it comes to Forkpa? Are the Gators the team to beat?
Yeah, what I like about Forkpa so much makes him fun to cover is he's very transparent. I mean, he hasn't hidden that love for Florida. He's named them his leader to multiple people, multiple times. I think, like you said, Josh, they're still in a good position here when we're just over a week or so away from that commitment announcement. Look, Florida State got him on campus, gave him a lot to think about. You know, the parents are involved, looking for the right fit academically, athletically. Miami's been in the mix as well. But I think Florida is going to be tough to beat. He's been there a lot. He knows multiple players on the team. He's at IMG Academy. IMG has sent guys to the University of Florida. Coach Janav Carr is in that class this year, an offensive lineman from IMG. He knows people there. He's comfortable there. Coach Peterson, Coach Napier, the chance to play. A lot of things are in Florida's favor right now for Forkpa, and I don't see that changing unless there's a major change in the next week or so. But Florida is in a very good spot here for DQ Forkpa.
All right. Tight end Hezi Kent will be making his decision right here on the Rivals Recruits channel on July 12th. Hezi Kent, a massive prospect, whether he's a tight end, offensive tackle, teams want him on their roster. What are you hearing?
Yeah, he's a big athlete. Like you said, he can play either way. In his mind, he's a tight end and tight end only. And that's where I think Florida's done a great job here with Russ Callaway leading the way as a tight ends coach, kind of showing him and making him believe that, hey, you can fit in our scheme here offensively as a tight end and do well here. I think Miami's been in the battle here. Texas has as well. Talking to sources, a week or so away, I think Florida is trending in this race.
Nice. All right, let's wrap it up with in-state wide receiver Somourian Wingo. Who are the top teams here?
South Carolina's in the mix, but he's an in-state kid for Florida and Miami.
Mm-hmm.
FSU's been involved too to some extent. I think Florida's been the team with the most buzz around it throughout the spring, summer. If Florida wants to push, I think they can land Wingo in this class. I mean, he likes the staff. He likes Billy Gonzalez. I would pick Florida today for Wingo as well.
All right, Florida fans, a lot of great options on the board. How do you think the Gators finish, and are there any top targets that I didn't mention? Let us know.